Welcome, ladies and gents, boys and girls, to the live training. Tonight, we're going to talk about fat loss principles and the basics. Now, most of you will know this, but it doesn't ever do any harm to go over this stuff again, because essentially, if we get these things right, you're going to lose all the body fat that you need to over the next 12 weeks or in the mastery. So if you listen to this, watching this live, welcome. If you're catching up with this as one of your modules, great, pay attention, take some notes. If this is in the mastery, fantastic. It's always good to know this. We can never, ultimately, this is the nuts and bolts of losing body fat. So we're looking at the fat loss principles and the basics, and everything when it comes to fat loss is always down to doing the simple things, but consistently. So first of all, and as you guys noticed, the first point is energy balance is the key. So if you hear someone talking about CICO, calories in versus calories out, it really is a simple balancing equation. If you consume more calories than you take in, you're going to gain body fat. If you burn more than you take in, you'll lose body fat. It really is that simple. Now, many people overcomplicate fat loss, and they think they have to be on a certain diet and follow this and eat at a certain time, and all these different hundreds and hundreds of diets out there on the market. Now, they all work by one mechanism only, by being in a calorie deficit. So ultimately, there's other things that we can do to help this. But when it comes down to it, the number one thing we need to realize is if you're burning more calories than you're taking in, you'll lose body fat regardless. Okay? The calories in versus calories out. It really is that simple. Second point, calories will trump all. You can't build a house without any bricks. And what do I mean by that? Well, a lot of people say that, hormones are making me fat and medication is making me fat and it's my underactive thyroid gland and all these different things. And I cut calories, I went too low, and my body went into starvation mode. Basically, that's all bullshit. Okay, calories will trump everything. If you're consuming more than you're taking in, you'll gain weight. If you're not consuming many calories, you're not going to gain body fat. You can't gain weight. So there's, to my point, you can't build a house with any bricks. It's like saying to someone, I cut my calories and I didn't lose weight. If you cut your calories and lose weight, I often is probably an exaggeration, every couple of months, one or two clients that say to me, I've dropped my calories, I'm on 1,000 calories or 1,100 calories, and I just can't lose weight. And without me actually calling them a liar, they're basically, one, they're lying, or they're misrecording. So I'll give them benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're misrecording or they're not sure. Usually comes to misrecording or forgetting to record everything. But remember this, if you forget everything else, if you're not losing body fat, not losing weight on some level, the calories are too high compared to what you're burning. Simply get that equation right and everything will start to move again. Really is that simple. Number 3, protein's your friend. If it runs, swims, or flies, all the vegetarians and vegans can turn away as we watch this slide, listen to this slide. But look, it's not my, people go, Gav, why do you always go on about protein all the time? Look, I didn't make the rules up. It's just the way it is. Protein is all the benefits. It's for satiety. It keeps you fuller for longer, helps you build muscle, acts as an appetite suppressant, makes you feel good, switches on various neurotransmitters and neuromodulators like dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, all these different things, chemicals in the brain that make us feel good. But the main thing, it really helps you stay in a calorie deficit for a longer period of time. When your protein is high, you tend not to be that hungry. When you're not that hungry, it's easier to stay on a lower calorie diet for a longer period of time. That's simply why we want to have protein, and you want to have protein every single meal. Now, if you're a vegetarian or vegan, it's more difficult, but it's not impossible. You just have to be clever. It means mixing beans and pulses and other grains to get your protein, and it's doable. It is doable, but it is harder for sure. So if you like eating meat, I'm a big fan of that. Fantastic. It could be easier, but going back to point 2, calories will trump all. So regardless of protein, although we know protein's important, if your calories are low and you're in a calorie deficit, you're still going to lose body fat regardless of the protein you get in your diet. Okay. Should be number 4, but I've called it number 3, sugar and carbohydrates. Just want to clear up a couple of myths around this. Consuming sugar and carbohydrates do not make you store body fat. And it's a common myth that most people, just don't understand. They think, I cut carbs and I lose body fat. Or I lost weight, cut all my simple sugars out and I lost weight. No, the only reason you lose weight is by being in a calorie deficit. So that food that you eat could be from sugar, could be carbohydrates. If you're in a surplus, the reason people think that sugar and carbohydrates makes them store body fat and they have to reduce that to lose body fat is that sugar and carbs are very, very easily overeaten. It's in everything. It's hidden. It tastes good. It makes us feel good temporarily, short term. It's very easy to overconsume sugar without even thinking about it. If you like pizza, it's very, very easy to eat the whole pizza. 1,500, 200 calories, bread, cheese, tomato. Look, it tastes great. It's very, very easy to overconsume sugar and carbohydrates. It's highly palatable, addictive. Not really, because what is addictive is a combination of foods: sugar, fat, taste, sensation, crunch, texture, social setting. That's what's actually addictive, not sugar and carbs itself. So anyone that says that you need to reduce carbs and sugar to lose body fat, is talking out their arse, quite frankly. Now, for most people, they probably need to reduce it, but not eliminate it. There's a very big difference between a reduction in simple sugars and carbs than eliminating it and saying carbs are the enemy, sugar is the enemy. It's definitely not the enemy. You can get fat if you consume too much sugar and carbs and it puts you into a surplus. That's when you'll gain body fat. But you could eat sugar all day long, but if you're in a calorie deficit, you'll still lose body fat. Now, whether that's going to be good for your health, your energy, your mindset, your sleep, probably not. But is it going to cause you to lose weight? Yes. Will it cause you to gain weight if you eat too much? Absolutely. But sugar and carbohydrates itself won't make you fat. And it's the same with dietary fat. It's actually annoying that dietary fat is the same word as body fat, but they're two entirely different substances. And some, along the lines, it kind of makes sense. If you eat fats, you're going to store fats. You'll only store body fat if you're in a surplus. Now, if you eat fats, it will get stored as fat in your body, but that's only a problem if you go into a surplus. So you could eat quite a lot of fat. If you look at the ketogenic diet, keto, it's mostly fat, high protein, no carbs, but people lose body fat. So eating dietary fat has got no indication of your body fat stores. I'm hoping that makes sense to everyone. Number 5, overconsumption of any calories will ensure fat gain. So could be from protein, could be from carbs, could be from sugar, protein, fat, carb, anything, could be alcohol, it doesn't matter. If you overconsume calories and you're in a surplus, you'll gain body fat. If you're in a calorie deficit, you'll lose body fat. So regardless of where those calories come from. And think about this, there's actually roughly 3,500 calories in a pound of body fat. Okay, so to lose roughly a pound of body fat per week, we're looking to create a deficit of about 500 calories a day. Obviously, 7 times 500 is 3,500. Now, this is not an exact science. Everybody's got a slightly different metabolism. We overeat some days, we undereat other days, but roughly, if you're losing about a pound a week, it means you've created a calorie deficit of about 500 calories each day. That's kind of where we want to be looking at. Sometimes more, sometimes a little bit less. And on the flip side of this, people say, well, I've gained 2 pounds. Usually that weight gain over the weekend or something you've done over a couple of days, maybe some body fat for sure, but probably some of it's water. If you think about it, to gain 2 pounds of actual body fat, we know there's 3,500 calories in a pound of body fat. So 2 pounds of body fat would be 7,000 calories. You've got to ask yourself, have you eaten your normal amount of food and then a surplus of 7,000 calories to gain 2 pounds of body fat? I can pretty much guarantee that the answer is no. So when you get on the scales and you see the pound or two up, think, well, have it been that bad? You probably haven't. Water, time of the month for women, various hormones can cause you to store water. Carbohydrates, for every gram of carbohydrate you eat, your actually body will store 3 grams of water. So if you eat a very high carb meal, there'll be an associated water weight gain with that meal. Is it body fat? No, it's not. But there could be some water retention because of the food you eaten. Maybe you had a pizza, carbs, cheese, usually a fair amount of salt. These foods will tend you to cause to gain water weight. So think about that. Exercise, little thing on exercise. A lot of people struggle with putting planned exercise sessions on the diary or in their calendar or scheduling them. And what you've got to realize is that the vast majority of your metabolism is made up of the calories you burn when you're not exercising. So let's say you're going for a walk once a day, 30 minutes. There's actually another 23 hours, 30 minutes of movement, including sleep and movement around the day where you're burning calories. So yeah, you plan to go for a walk, that's your exercise session, where you go to the gym or you go for a run or you go to a dance class, whatever you choose to do, yoga, whatever. But think about the things you're doing when you're not doing the planned exercise session. That's where the vast majority of your calories are burned in your metabolism. Okay, so probably one of the best ways to help you burn body fat once after controlling your calories is actually just being as active as possible. Okay, get your planned sessions in the gym or the exercise or walking, whatever you plan to do. But think about the time when you're not exercising, walking the dog or playing with the kids or doing the gardening or tidying up the front yard or anything that you do. All these movements, all this time where you can raise your metabolism, burn calories, it's all going to add up and make a big difference in the fat loss puzzle over time. And nutrition, clearing up a little myth. Total calories over the day, over 2 or 3 days, over the week will determine your fat loss or gain. Okay, if you're in that surplus, you're going to gain body fat. If you're in a deficit, you'll lose body fat. But the quality of the calories will determine health. In an ideal world, we want a bit of both, really. We want to eat the best sources of calories as often as we can, but still allow 10, 15, 20% for the times where we go a little bit off piste whilst controlling the calories. So just because you're eating very healthy doesn't mean you're going to lose body fat. I know a lot of people, clients come to me and say, look, I can't understand why I can't lose weight. Look at my diet, it's very, very healthy. And on reflection of the diet, look at their food diary. It is very healthy, as in lots of nutrients, lots of fiber, lots of vitamins and minerals. But the body doesn't understand that. It'll improve your health, but it will still store body fat. It's like filling up a car. You go to the garage, you get the petrol. Let's say it's the best fuel, unleaded, super high octane. Put it into the tank, you fill it up, tank gets full, and you keep pressing the fuel, and it's filling out, it's filling out, it's filling out. Doesn't matter how good that fuel is, there's going to be spillage, there's going to be a spillover, there's going to be storage, that fat that's going to need to go somewhere else. If you give that car too much fuel, it's going to store it elsewhere, it's going to flood over. It's exactly the same in the body. Doesn't matter how good the fuel is, it can only take as much as it needs. And if it's in a surplus, it's going to get stored as body fat. And here's the thing, you can put really crappy fuel in your body. Let's say you use the old 2-star, put it into your car, it won't run very well, but if it runs out of fuel, the car will stop, break down. That's you going into a deficit, as the analogy I like to use. So think about the quality of your calories for health, but think about the overall total calories for fat loss. Now, when you combine the two, that's when you get all the nutrients, vitamins, and minerals, cofactors, good health, which we want, of course. So although we're trying to lose body fat on this program, that's not at the expense of health. Anything we do is never at the expense of health. We're always trying to maintain optimal health as we go through this program and for the rest of life. at the same time as losing body fat. So it's eating 80 or 90% of the best foods we can, and allowing that 10, 15, maybe 20% going off piste where we eat whatever the hell we want. Foods that are high calorie, dense in sugar, fats, taste great, not that good for us in terms of nutrients, but maybe good for your sanity. So that's the end of the presentation, guys. Hope you enjoyed that one, taking a few things from it. Said fairly basic for some of you, but for some of you that are new to this, maybe not. Hopefully you've taken a few things away from that. I'll see you on the next module.